All right, everyone, welcome back on the Morning Show on Sit today with me and Paul. And as we mentioned it earlier, we will have a special talk show, and the theme is gym for elderly,
Correct.
right, Paul? And then I think nowadays going to gym has become an important part of our lifestyle. This is especially true as more and more of us post about our mental journey on social media. And however, it is also important to point out that going to the gym because it's beneficial for people of all ages and not just for the youth.
Correct, especially for us that are getting up there in age. Who says that we can't go to the gym when we're old? It's fact. On the contrary, routine exercise has become more important as we get older. This is due to the fact that we start to lose 1% of all our muscles annually once we hit the age 40. So technically, I've already lost like 6 or 7%.
Okay, for me, it's about the 15 years from now. And however, the elderly should not exercise with reckless abandon. It is the best to hire personal trainers who are experienced at working with the elderly.
Which is why we're going to connect with someone who is more in tune with this sort of matter, the type of gym exercises which are safe for the elderly and the benefits that it can offer. And we are going to find out more about it with starting strength coach Joannes Marvin from Singapore. Good morning, Marvin. Thank you for joining us.
Marvin.
Hi.
Hey, good morning.
Hi.
How are you? Good. Thanks for joining us on the C Morning Show.
I'm very well, thanks.
All right.
Good.
So let's, before we get into this discussion, let's find out first what defines elderly.
Yeah.
What defines elderly? I mean, everyone can have a different description of what an elderly is, but basically the process of aging itself already starts when we are at late 20s. So basically, we are getting older every day, and two things for sure are tax and death, right?
Yeah.
So we are in the process of aging, and we are in the process of being an elderly.
So it's nothing, there's never wrong to look ahead and at least start. It's never too late to start. There you go.
And what a punchline. We are
Yeah,
getting
of
older
course.
every day. Thank you so much for reminding us, Marvin. So talking about our time for today, it is safe for the elderly to perform at gym and do gym exercise.
So the question is whether it's safe for them, right? So I think, yes, it is safe under correct supervision. So what a typical clientele for our gym in Singapore is basically people from 40s and above, basically. So this client over here is about 70 years old. So what we want to make sure when they are exercising is to make sure that the form is correct. And then we also make sure that the load selection is sufficient to give them enough stress, but at the same time not too much so that it produces extra risk of injury.
Okay.
Oh, that's why you mentioned earlier, we have to underline that it's under professional, which is under the trainer, right, Marvin?
Yeah. So,
Well, my job is just to facilitate the process of learning, right? So I expedite the learning curve for my clients.
Okay.
I mean, I do have clients who train with me for some period of time before they get more independent and finally they train on their own.
Right.
So in this case, my job is just to facilitate their training so that it can be, so the learning curve can be just a little bit faster.
okay, Marvin, can you explain a little bit about starting strength? What is starting strength? And second part question, why is strength training important for the elderly?
So starting strength is actually a method of exercising using barbell. So we use compound exercises, right? So exercises that use a lot of different muscle group at one go. So we do 4 main exercises. Those are squats, which is performed when you are standing up, and then you are bending down your hip and your knee like you're about to sit down and stand back up. Overhead press, where the barbell is pulled over here and finish at the lockout over your head. After this, I'll show you how the other exercise look like, deadlift, and the other thing is bench press when you are pressing the bar from a laying down position. And why strength training is important, because as we get older, like we mentioned just now, there are some percentage of our bones and muscles if you are if you are not using it, it will start to reduce. That's just the process of aging. And the thing is, the misconception is, hey, I mean, older people, is it safe to lift this kind of weight? But the thing is, if you don't use your body to adapt to this kind of stress, our body is smart. If we will just try to I mean, you're not using it, so we will just let it decay, let it deteriorate. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this is something that is important for maintenance as well, right? Yeah, because if you want to maintain what you have, then you need to continue to put your body through those sort of stresses.
And for me, personally, in my earlier 20, this is one of the importance. If you, especially for a woman, if you want to be aging gracefully, don't forget to do your exercise, right?
That's right.
Okay, maybe right now, Marvin, you will demonstrate the movement, especially the gym for the elderly now, okay?
All right. Yeah, sounds good. What gym exercises are you going to show us that can be performed by the elderly?
We are going to show you deadlift, and our model today is Miss Connie. Connie is 67 years old this year.
Good morning, Connie.
Hi, Connie. Good morning.
Connie.
Okay, so we're actually so we have somebody that is actually in her 60s. Wow, looking great.
Looking great.
There you go. So this is a deadlift. Is she going to perform a deadlift?
This is a deadlift.
Okay.
Yes. So this is like a warm-up weight for Connie. So safe for demonstration. So I'll just show you how I coach Connie on normal training.
Okay.
Oh my God, it is only for warming up, and we can see the weight is like so.
Always good to warm up before you start.
So this is like 35 kilograms. Connie can deadlift for almost like 60 kilograms, right? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
50 plus kilograms to almost 60.
Right.
So Connie, let's set your stance shoulder width apart. Yep. All right. And then Connie is holding her hand right beside her legs.
Yeah.
And then looking forward, arching his back, and then take a big breath and arch, Connie. And let's pull it slowly. Big proud chest at the top. Yep. Good. Let's do a few more. Proud chest. Keep it close. Good. All right. Arch, shoulder stays back. Yep. And keep it in. Good. Let's do 2 more. Very good.
Oh my goodness.
One more time. Arch and good job.
Okay.
To be honest, I am under pressure right now.
Okay. So Marvin, this obviously, thank you, Connie. We do know that deadlift is one of the best compound movements.
Yeah.
But there's also this misconception where when you do a deadlift, it puts a lot of stress on your back, especially if you don't have the right form.
Yeah.
So how important is your role in all of this? Because as somebody who's elderly, who may have at higher risk for back problems and things of that sort.
Well, you are totally right. I mean, we are putting stress on the lower back and I mean, like different part of the body, right? But the thing is, we calibrate the stress so that it is sufficient. It is not too much that it is going to create like big risk of injury.
Right.
But it needs to be sufficient so that this person can get stronger each time. And that is my rule. My rule is to make sure that the movement that we are doing is in accordance to the model that we want. They move with a good technique performance, and as well as I'm also making sure that the stress is sufficient but not too much.
Okay, so I've got a question for you. The way I figure out how much I can deadlift is I test my 1 rep max. 1 rep max is when you can lift as much as you can one time.
Yeah.
And then you calculate based on that. How do you figure out what's the sufficient weight for someone who is elderly without risking them in any sort of injury?
No. We don't normally test our I don't test Connie's 1 rep max the first time I see her.
Right.
So what we do normally is on the first day, I'll let her perform lightweight at a set of 5. And then if it looks easy, I start to increase the weight a little bit by a little bit. And then when the bar speed starts to reduce, I'll stop increasing the weight. So that will be the weight for the first day.
Okay.
And then in this case, the moment I see Connie again or any of my lifter, I just try to increase it just a little bit more from that.
Okay.
That was
So you start low and then you just to gradually work your way up. One last
Yeah.
question.
And
Go ahead.
go ahead. Yes.
Just,
Oh yeah. So basically, why we are choosing barbell is because you know we can load the weight a little bit by a little bit. So the smallest jump that we can do with barbell is like half a kilo. So in this case, I mean, for Paul, probably if I increase 5 kilo a time, probably no problem for you. But for Connie or her peers, I need to increase it in much smaller rate. So that is why barbell is useful.
Okay, so yeah, great stuff. I mean, this is something that's going against an old school way of thinking where when you get older, you should only do slower, low intensity workouts where you can do just as good or get intense workout in order to maintain your strength as long as you're doing it safely and properly.
And I can see it in the future, like Paul and Caroline will do it. The gym and the weight training for the elderly.
Absolutely.
Marvin,
hey, Marvin, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for sharing with us for this morning.
Thank you.
Really,
Thanks for having me.
We really do
have a
appreciate
good day.
it. You stay safe and healthy out there.
Bye now, Marvin. Wow,
Right, so-
that was wonderful.
You never think that like weight training can be for the elderly, but I have in the last few years, I myself have been researching a lot about exercise for people over 40 is so different than exercise for somebody your age. Because when somebody hits 40, especially men, your testosterone levels start to lower, you start to lose a bit of muscle mass, but it doesn't mean it's the end of the world. There are ways you can get around that. You have to eat right, most importantly, you have to rest and recover, and then you have to train properly and safely.
Personally, I was planning to do the weight training in my early 30s, but right now I was thinking about to start early.
Hey.
So thank you so much for sharing, Paul. That was wonderful. And we will back with more exciting stories after the break. So stay tuned with us only on the C Morning Show.